Happy Tuesday and good afternoon. I'm Rob the accountant. I like to help people build companies while finding solutions to whatever problems you might have. Talk to me live Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Questions, ideas, whatever, let's talk. I'm just going to sit here. If you're a business owner, you're just somebody who wants to start a business, whatever your situation is, I am here for you. My thing sometimes is, you've got all the media channels, you've got Twitch, everyone's got a way to comment on something, right? But how many folks actually help you find a solution to your life and help make your life better? The politicians talk that shit all the time, but what do they do? Gas is expensive, eggs are expensive. The only thing I say, I'm almost 50. I'm not going to disclose my age, but I'm close to 50. I have more years than less still. This is the only thing that's been consistent for my life for almost the last, 25 plus years is everything I pay for costs more, and everything I pay more for, I used to get more, but I now get less. Those are just the facts. And I think sometimes we could just all come to a point where we're all having a common interest in whatever capacity it could be. Then you can work together and we could all get there a little bit quicker. But some folks think that things should be more, centered in one group of hands versus another groups of hands. So enough with that. I'm just here. I'm here until 2 p.m. And then this replay will get loaded up to YouTube. And we have a Patreon account. I have a Patreon account. We might have a company with folks. But this is mine. I'm Rob the accountant. And I hope I can help some of you. I hope some of you can jump in and say hello. And we'll see what we can do. All right. So until I hear something, I'm just going to be quiet. Work on some stuff that I need to work on. And see what goes on. I probably should fix that fish tank. I like the water. Very calming. So So generally, you can expect me here probably about 45 weeks out of the year. Normally near the year end, there's close out and don't really have a lot of extra time. And then I've got some family time. I usually go on vacation when I can. Been a little expensive lately, so I've just been sitting tight. Just there's a certain point where, just because you can do something doesn't mean that it's prudent or wise to do it financially. I was just talking to my children the other day about phones. That just 10 years ago, we all got phones and they gave them to us, and so you signed a terrible contract for a year or two to soften the blow of the phone. And everyone complained about that. And now you got the phone service, and then you pay for the monthly fee of the phone, and now everybody's walking around with a $1,000 phone. And when we had dial up back here in 1998, 2000, 2005, before Google was really a thing, you got 1,000 hours of internet for $10, and now the average ISP, runs $80 to $100 a month. So I'm not sure who's winning. It's not us, I'll tell you that. So, well, that's nice of you. I appreciate that. Cool. Whatever. I don't like to buy things. One of the things that I think is important in life is you should always know where you're at, and you should always know the people you're around. Just regardless of who you are, you should always know or have an idea of what's around you. So most accountants in life are cheap SOBs, so you could spam stuff to them all day long. You generally don't find them in condos, condo fees. Anything that's caused extra to a guy who's crunching money every day is just not really something that's very prudent. So, penny earned is penny saved, or penny saved is a penny earned, whatever. I don't like pennies. I like nickels and dimes. They get $2 bills faster. So I do have to do a couple things. I'm going to be in and out here, so check my screen here. I know you guys can hear me. So, excuse me. Come back here. I don't feel like doing that right now, so I'll just stick and have a cup of coffee with you folks. Maybe I'll fix that fish tank. So I hope everyone's having a good week. I like to see things for the positive things. I know there's some of my friends and associates will say that I could be negative or at times, but I just see risk differently than other people. So I want to cover the things around me that can disrupt my focus. And so you analyze a little bit more probably than you should. So, but my goal is to help everybody else, because we definitely have a deficit of what life is, like good programming from early age, to go get a job and sit in a career and work hard for those raises every year. This is what we're sold. It works for some people. It's not bad. It works for a lot of people. One way isn't better than the other way. One way definitely makes less money than the other way. But everyone's not cut out for running organizations and owning businesses and dealing with the nuances of people. So it's okay to work. It's okay to go and pursue things that help you make a lot of money. Of course, going to college today to try to find that other than for medical or law or some type of dentistry is just, probably money well spent somewhere else than there. So these are just the things that, as you, whatever stage you are in life, is you always have to advocate for you. And the issue sometimes with that is you got a million people around you advocating against you. They want to take your money when you buy a car, want to take your money when you buy an apartment, extra money for utilities. So it's just like you're in a den of thieves every day. And so it's easy to see sometimes how people can get a little bit frustrated. So I want to take that frustration, help you start your own thing. When people really think about it or look at it, a great, good restaurant, for dinner time. It used to be $1,000 a night was a great night. That's 100 plates at $10, but still 100 people, 200 people sitting down in a restaurant on a nightly basis is pretty good money. But you also need a good team to run that restaurant, so those 100 diners have a good experience, enjoy their food, have clean restrooms, and pay for the food. Well, that has to do, but give your staff tips, and then come back another day. That takes people, and so sometimes people don't make good statements. I know we had a past president who said you didn't make your own money, but that's bullshit. He came about and said it really wrong. Is you don't become a millionaire in the United States of America. You don't become a billionaire in the United States of America without a whole lot of people working for you. Unless you're just some lucky, you got rich. And let's even take Mr. Musk with PayPal. There's a team of developers. Mark Cuban, the radio station, the original thing that got him paid. There was a whole bunch of people that were behind that, making it happen. It's not a single individual. There's a leadership that forms a vision, but it's the thousands of employees every day, the essential employees, whether they're at Walmart or the liquor store or the grocery store, the essential employees, the folks who make things continue to happen, your truck drivers, your couriers, your Uber drivers. This is the world we live in. So I want to help you maximize it. If you drive an Uber, Lyft, why are you just driving one car? Why don't you have a couple cars? If you're delivering for Amazon and you're going through their rigid, they control my life process, then why don't you go get a CDL where you'll make triple your money and you'll be home for at least 90 hours a week, where most Amazon drivers, you're lucky if you're home for 10 hours a week, right? I'm being funny there. Okay, so don't go crazy, Amazon, telling people that, people are really only home 10 hours a week. But It seems that way to me for some of the guys I know that work. They're just always at work, and it doesn't seem very like a happy life. So, but if you're the guy that owns 5 Amazon trucks, you probably have a happy life. So you just have to look at ways to get out of your own way, not have to do everything, to rely on other people and to build those teams to help you get the money that you need to build bigger teams with more people and more money. And I always say when I'm talking to folks during tax season that bring me your hobby, bring me what you like to do, and I'll try to monetize it for you in some way. But monetization in the real world takes work. It takes dedication, and that's why I say always start with your hobby, because when you start with your hobby, it's something you're interested in, okay? And then once you understand the process of breaking down how to make money with your hobby, whether your hobby is successful or not is not the issue. Everybody's gonna fail with businesses. Businesses are you're gonna put them up and down, up and down, up and down. So, but when you start with your hobby, your passion. Your hobby is better than passion, because you could have a passion that's different than your hobby. What's your hobby? What do you like to tinker with on your downtime? That's what you start with. And then as you start seeing how you bring all that together to bring your company together, and you start forging supply lines that are outside of Amazon's distribution chain, which are really not commercial distribution chains at all. Anybody operating a real business is not using Amazon for full distribution in that sense. It just doesn't make any sense. There's no margin in there to grow in terms of scaling up anything. You have to go to a baseline distributor somewhere in a central market, where you're in the West, you're in the East, you're in the North, you're in the South. It's just not going to be Amazon. So once you learn how to get all that running, once you file a tax return or two and you see how things are moving forward for you, then you can sit back and, you're either winning and you keep doing that forward, or you're losing. And then you say, well, my hobby isn't really a fundamental driver of income. So now that I understand business, I can go find a different driver of business. And since I am not my worst enemy anymore, I'm stepping away and I'm realizing it's the leadership of my organization. And I can go out and get the people and the products and the other things I need to go jump into something that is more profitable or that's going to make me more money. So you just have to look at these things from your point of view. And I get excited because everything's a mission. The worst thing I can imagine is having to get up and, for me, go sit in a box all day. I just like to see the sun. I like to be out with people. I like to engage folks. It's a long process. I'm not a wealthy guy. You can Google my net worth and my companies. It doesn't matter, because that's not relative to me. I play a lot of video games, like Asmon Gold. I watch him stream a lot, and I play some MMOs, and it's fun. And I always tell folks it's the journey. It's the journey of getting to where you want to go in the game. Once you're usually there, max level, and you have 90% of what you've gotten, it's boring, which is why sometimes you can see why the billionaire class and the millionaire class and just the successful people are always moving, because I would say there's probably that level of financial reliability for yourself that, how do I say it? Money is not a sole focus of your pursuits. And so if you have kids now, your kids are going to be grown one day. They're going to be out of your house. So that's going to be good. Whatever your situation now, it's not forever. It's just a moment in your time. But if you always know how to generate revenue and you always know how to generate a product, then you don't ever have to go out and actually look for a job again, because You just go find new distribution channels that are piping down work for you, and then you go find the team to push them out. And that's what I like to do from the whole process, from formation to the taxes, to the payroll, to the workers' comp, to the DBL, the whole kit and caboodle. And we wrap it right up for you. It takes a little bit of time to get up in New York, I'll tell you that's for sure. And it takes you no time to get up in Florida. But, in the same regard, I'm just going to be a little bit more skeptical, to be honest with you. Sorry, Florida. When you have no regulatory process to guard against, inept business practices or bad businesses, then you're just asking for people to be exploited. And I just, maybe sales tax isn't the way that it is, but when you have to have a level of engagement where you're kind of a little bit worried about, big brother on your back about their piece, it just forces you to be a little bit more. I don't know why anybody would want to start a business and run it in a fucked up manner. It just seems stupid. I don't know why take the time. But let me give you an example here. In New York State, you could be a car dealership. There's several different types of the licenses. One's allowed at your home. Your market's restricted. Your market is who you can sell to, so you're only allowed to sell to other wholesalers. But in full, Honda, Toyota dealership, you're talking $500 for the license at the state level. And then, you're talking about the insurance for your one set of plates. You get one plate for the dealer plate. So if you're a terrible driver, obviously it's going to be more expensive. If you're a great driver, it's not going to be anything. It's going to be another cost. And then you need a couple bucks to obviously buy and sell cars. So, if we take the time that we spend on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and, TikTok and all the things that waste our time, and then we get up and we complain that for 68 hours our time is owned by somebody else, then we only have ourselves to blame, because nowhere else in the world, screw anybody's BS, there's nowhere in the world where you can generate the revenue and have the opportunity to become a millionaire. And I was like, oh, well, that's impossible. Well, most people in that regard excuse me, play Powerball and the lottery and scratch off tickets and casinos and horse races and the gambling and the dice and and then we won't talk about all the donations that go to the church, and people do that for tax deductibility, and I'm not opposed to people giving money to the church, but if you're going to give out $10,000 or $12,000 to the government and then another $10,000 or $12,000 out to the church, fundamentally, I just think you should probably be making a ton of money first before you can help others. I think there is a saying that you can't help anybody else before you can help yourself. So I think the money's there for people. You just sometimes need the optimism. You need a guy like me, okay? You need somebody to give you a little kick in the ass, keep a little bit of reality on you, and anything's possible. I mean, I get offended sometimes watching these guys on YouTube. I bought a new plane, and I bought a Bugatti, and I bought a new $200,000 truck because I had to pay the government a bill. And some of these things are true. They're not saving any money, so I want to be clear on that. Sometimes this whole idea that they're saving money, they're not saving money. They're just redirecting money, and thus they're still losing what they owe. So they're not out, okay? It's not like going back in their pocket. And I think sometimes they sell that shit like they're winning. And they are winning in the sense that it's not going into the general governmental funds. It's going into their company. And that's a good thing too, right? Because bigger companies employ more people, generate more revenue, and in reality, at the end of the day, make the person who owns that company wealthier. Or you could be like Shaq. Love Shaq. How how many? If there's a new business coming on the market, it's Shaq O'Neal's right there. I mean, how many businesses does he own? He's got like what? Is it like 20 to 50 different franchises? I mean, here you got a guy, one of the best NBA basketball players in history, right? Wealthy. He's a giant, humble giant, gentle giant, just all around great dude, right? So much money for playing for the Lakers. She just could have played basketball and retired and been up there with the greats like Jordan in a different way, right? So it's like, don't jump on me for the Jordan thing. Shaq's a big dude. He's cool. But then he comes out. He's got all this money. He probably knows he's going to get taxed a ton of shit. And so he goes out and he invests into what he believes in. He buys into his people. And his people are everyone. It's not exclusive to this group. He buys his people is his vision for his life. And sometimes we get away from that. I'm not a bad person because I want to take care of my family and my network, and I want to secure for my downline. I leave a property so that when I die, maybe the second or third or fourth generation can get that. You're not a bad person for thinking like that. So if it's good for him, then why it's not good for us? Because sometimes most of us, we're watching the 6 o'clock news and the 12 o'clock news, and we're worrying about all this stuff that we really have no control over. It doesn't matter. I mean, you throw your vote out for Biden, you throw your vote out for Trump. What did either of them do for us? Come on. They come and help you. They change your baby's diapers. They come rake your lawn, fill up your gas tank. Do either of them? What did Obama do for anybody who was black? Anybody? I mean, he's cool. I liked him. He looks like me, so he's there, and that's cool. Isn't something new? But what did he do? Did he do anything for me? No, gas went through the roof. So my life actually became harder because I wanted a guy who looked like me, right? So it's not a bad thing in that regard because there's just two different interests. One is how I feel and is political ideology. And the other one is I gotta eat. I gotta eat. I got kids. I got cars. I gotta pay for things. I gotta not live on the street. Maybe as this channel grows and we get more people talking, we'll figure out why so many people are just content living on the streets in California. They're not all mental health. Okay, it's just. I just don't, because you have a mental health, you want to live on the street. Just sometimes it sounds bullshit, right? Like, because you got ADD, you like to be homeless, you don't like to eat, you don't want to freaking piss in a pot. Fuck that shit. Sometimes they're just full of shit. It is as if you allow people to just be homeless on the streets and it's comfortable. You know why we don't have homeless people in New York on the streets? You know why? Because 10 motherfucking feet of snow will roll right the fuck in. And you know what? Now, we have a open door mission here where I live. We have homeless shelters. We do a lot in New York State. Like, there should be nobody ever out in the street. But you know what? We don't have tent cities because 10 feet of snow in a tent is fucking cold, and you just won't do it. You do it in California because it's 100 degrees every day and it's on the sidewalk. But I don't even know what to say on that shit. It just seems weird, and people just pissing on the sidewalk and whatever, people can say whatever they want. New York, we're not that. So, we got our own problems, but those aren't the problems we have. So, just do you guys. So, what are we doing here? Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll this one out for 45 minutes. And I'm going to be back on Thursday. Probably ramble on some other bullshit. It's going to take some time. I'm a grinder. It doesn't matter where it is, what I'm grinding. This could take 5 years. This actually is not My channels are not meant for, well, I mean, any extra money I get individually, and be honest with you, I'll take, right? I'm not going to be dismissive of that, but my focus is not these channels. These two channels, my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel, they're to help you. That's what makes me happy, really, at the end of the day, is what makes me happy, is helping other people. That's why I'm with customers. You just get something when you're making people happy. I don't know what to tell you. And then when they're making money on top of it, it's just one more, it's icing on the cake. So I always tell folks, because, for my tax practice, people, you only charge a little bit of money. Oh, what are you doing wrong? What's the scam? Fucking scam is, it's your fucking money. Why is it my money to take it from you? I'm facilitating a process for you, which honestly I think is kind of bullshit anyways. So what? I'm a dick because I charge you less because everybody else is whacking you for $600. How does that make any sense? It just doesn't make any sense. So these are the things that you have to do, and you have to take the time to get out there and push forward and grind it out. My first tax season, so when Obama came in, they kind of mandated the way that a lot of us were operating individually, and because they blame a lot of things that the government does when it goes wrong. They blame it on the people who are in that field. So housing and taxes and all this stuff took hits in 2008, and so they came out with a whole bunch of new rules and made you go through all these numbers and PTINs and all this bureaucracy, really truthfully, to do what they actually would have people doing for the last 100 years, is giving them tax books. And a lot of folks used to just sit at the kitchen table and fill it out. That's how people learned. But it's your money. Like, really, it's, if you look at the W-2, I didn't do that work for you. You know what I'm saying? Your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, they didn't do the work for you. So it's like if you went to the DMV and you need plates because that's the law, and they're like, oh, you need a set of plates? Oh, that's $1,000. You'd be like, what the fuck is that shit? Really? Why would it? It wouldn't make any sense. So you have to fight against disinformation and misinformation, because I love my CPA, folks. I have a degree, I have college credits, quite a lot of them actually, more than a couple degrees. But part of that is when people go to school, they adjust. You don't know, you go in with one thing, you think you want to do something else. The program resets all your credits, so you got to pay more money, and then you got to go through it. Eventually you'll run out of funding. And you hope you can grab a degree or two before that process ends. My kids have more degrees than I do, so I'm happy about that. But it's a waste of money if you're not goal oriented. So it's just those things that you got to do. So for me, it's just really just to be here for a couple hours a week. And maybe you can't afford an accountant. They always say if you're going to open a business, first thing you need is an accountant. Second thing you need is a lawyer. I disagree with the lawyer. A lawyer takes a lot of money. I'm not really sure what they do in the overall scheme of things, other than when you're getting sued, then you need a good lawyer. You need a great lawyer. Okay? And but some people, can't afford an accountant. And if you have a CPA, which on that role, I stopped the CPA path for a couple reasons. One, I hate certifications. I hate things that I have to do continuing education. I just think it's bullshit that you get a degree in something and then they just like every year you gotta keep studying in it because they tell you. And that's not really what they're not actually helping you learn anything new. They're charging you for classes and all this stuff. So it's just a big it's a big thing. But for the most part, for the last 100 years, to be a CPA, you need a 4-year college degree. You need 128 credits, and you need to sit for the CPA exam. But back to 2008, with mortgage brokers and tax preparers and accountants, part of the accountants was Enron, so there was a little bit of an issue with how that came out. But they made it a master's degree. It's just stupid. Like, and I could have spent the time to accelerate and bypass those requirements, but I'm lazy, to be honest with you. I'm lazy. I hate books. I'm an operational guy. Give it to me. Let me figure it out, and I'll get through the test. I don't like to truly study by books. But anyways, I digress. So you can take the CPA exam, which is 4-year degrees. And for most part, a lot of lawyers and accountants did what was called, they dual majored. They got a Juris Doctorate and an accounting degree. They actually got the 4-year accounting degree, and then they went to law school and got the Juris Doctorate, and then they got their law degree and came back and took the CPA with the 4-year degree. Okay? The CPA is one of the hardest exams in the country, so there's nothing bad about it. But for me, what ended up was when I wanted to, after the Enron, I wanted to protect consumer interests with stocks and bonds and all that. And so at the end of the day, a lawyer is to defend you, but a CPA, certified public accountant, in the public space, like you're talking Walmart, you're talking Target, you're corporate America on the stock exchange. What they do is they just walk in and they audit like Wegmans or Walmart or Target, and they don't attest, they don't certify that the business is good, that there's money being made from the business, that the business is not just stealing everybody else's money, is not a Ponzi scheme. No, the only thing the fucking CPA does is they certify whether the fucking accounting records of said organization are being run to generally acceptable accounting principles, or GAAP, GAAP, and I know they have the international one, but I don't work in international accounting, so fuck it. I don't really care about that. GAAP is pretty much your blue chip, NASDAQ, and your stock market. It's GAAP, okay? It's always been GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. So that's why with Enron and all these companies collapsing, because we were lied to again. We're led to believe that a CPA doing something means they're offering a level of protection to us. And they're just not. They're not. What they're doing is they're certifying to the investment community that they're running their books in a verifiable manner, and in a manner that's auditable. Okay, so yes, the money there, they're going through all that process, okay? But it has nothing to do with anything else. Could be stealing from Granny every day of the week, going into her bank account, taking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. They can see it. Nope. CPA won't say shit about it. No. Nope. In fact, there's some issues within the regulation that, they're almost like a privileged. They work for the client, and so even if there's something per se that they can see, well, these are the people paying their audit engagement, so why would they disrupt their revenue? They got to eat too. So if you ever want to really evaluate stocks, bonds, just go to Edgar, EDGAR. I'm not saying you'll understand anything on Edgar, okay? I'm just saying there's a portal where you can pull their 10K or their 8K. Each one has a different significance. One's a consolidated report, one's their accounting records. And you can just see for yourself, red or black, and then if somebody's asking you to drop $50,000 into this company, you can make a determination based on what you can read, based on what they're filing, not based on regurgitation of Bloomberg or regurgitation of Zacks or money market or some other shit. You can look through it within the first few pages, and you can get to an idea relatively quickly if you want to throw your money at it or not. What's the risk position to you? So that's my little ramble about CPAs. There's another designation called an enrolled agent. They're empowered by the U.S. government. And, you know, for folks who don't want to seek the CPA path or don't want to stay for a master's, you can study today still for the enrolled agent. It is a competency certification. If you have it, I've taken a couple of the tests, and when they come back to the whole CE and continuing education, and whether you feel it's good for you or not, or whether I feel it's good for me or not, who cares about that? Every American can study for the EA, take the EA, and once you pass those three parts, you are designated as an expert in taxation by the U.S. government. So the CPA doesn't even jump that, okay? Because the EA is exclusively on all matters related to federal taxation. So CPA has a whole broad of hosting, from accounting to public auditing. It's basically whatever what they want to do on that situation. So where are we at here? Well, I think that concludes it. Oh, well, great with my spelling there. So that's where we're at today. I've done my little piece here. I'll be back on Thursday. Hope to see some of you here. I'll be throwing this up on YouTube, seeing what we've got. I just hope people can join and we can get some questions asked and answered. And even if I just can help one person in the next 10 or 20 years, God willing, that I'm alive, I'll be happy. So thank you so much, and have a good day and a happy day until Thursday. I'm Rob the Accountant. I'll talk to you soon.